I got my flashlight, I can see this guy now. Just wanted to get a little bit of footage of everybody today. Kind of talk about how different these guys are. I only have 3 retics currently. Let's see, I've had about 7 or 8 over the years. So, not a huge sample size, but enough to know that they differ from snake to snake, personality-wise. These 3 definitely all have different traits and personalities. I mean, they're all retics, and are within that retic standard, but definitely notice differences. All 3 of these guys are captive bred. I've had 2 wild caughts in the past. A wild caught Sumatran and a wild caught Sulawesi. But actually, the wild caughts were pretty nice as well. They weren't nothing like what you might think. They were just as docile and manageable and tame as these guys. Or not tame, but sociable. This girl is just coming out of shed right now. She's exited her blue phase and has entered the phase in which she's going to be shedding off her skin in the next day or 2. But one of the differences between these guys is this girl right here. She has no rhyme or reason for when she sleeps or when she's awake, unless she's in shed. There's 2 times she'll be guaranteed to be sleeping: when she's in shed, or when she's just had a big meal. Other than that, she can be up at any time of the day, or she could be asleep at any time of the day. She could be up at any time of the night, or she can be sleeping at any time of the night. It all just depends on whatever she wants to do in that moment. This little guy, and I don't know if we can see her. That girl up there, they are more true to their nocturnal nature. Like clockwork, they sleep all day and they're active at night. It's a little bit easier because you can predict their behavior and adjust your schedule to them. What makes this girl a bit of a pain in the butt is that she likes to push. So I like to keep an eye on her, and as soon as she starts pushing, bring her out. I'll let her burn off that energy. Let her crawl around for an hour or 2. Close off the hallway, let her roam around. And she'll come back in and, oh, you're gonna give us a yawn? That'd be cool. No? Well, she'll come back in and she'll go back to sleep and be well behaved. And that kind of curtails her pushing behavior. But when you don't know exactly when she's gonna be sleeping or when she's gonna be up, it makes it a little bit harder to predict when she's gonna be up pushing and messing up her snout. So I kind of just have to be on call almost 24/7 when she hasn't eaten or when she's not in shed. And she could wake up at 2:30 in the morning, and usually when she starts pushing, she'll make a loud thudding sound, which will wake me up and alert me to the situation. And I can come in here and, it's like having a baby almost. You gotta be on call. When the baby starts crying, you gotta get up. Well, when she starts pushing and I know she's gonna mess up her nose a little bit, I gotta get up. Even if it's 2:30, 3 in the morning, open up her cage, let her out for a little bit. These 2, they're up at night, but they don't push. They don't seem to have that behavior in them. Some retics are pushers, and some, they'll pace back and forth a little bit in their cage, but you never feel the need to push to the point where they're messing up their nose, which is nice. It's well appreciated. It definitely relieves a lot of the stress from me, knowing that they're not going to hurt themselves. But this girl's, she's worth it. She's a big, beautiful girl. It's just one of the things you have to deal with. And I'm hoping as she gets bigger, she might grow out of it. She doesn't do it as often as she did when she was younger. Some of that's because I've clued into the fact that I know what I have to do now to prevent it. Sometimes even the solution is just to feed her. If I don't feel like continuously getting woken up at night. But you have to watch that because you don't want to overfeed these guys just to, create a new problem trying to solve another one. That's just one of the differences between these guys. Two of them are more nocturnally based. This one's just up at random times during the day, during the night. From what I can gather, there's no real rhyme or reason. It's just, oh, I've got energy. It's time to get up and be active. Another thing is this girl is very deliberate in her movements, very slow, methodical. She takes her time. This guy's younger, so it's understandable that he's going to be a little bit more speedy. He might grow into a larger snake that's equal in temperament, slower, more methodical. He's a little faster, he's a little bit more on the move. He's kind of in that Goldilocks zone, where he's active, but he's not a speed demon. This girl, though, you can see her down in there. She is a speed demon. She just does not stop when she's out. And she is like 5 times the speed of these guys. Like a super athlete. She just goes. And when she wants to move, she can move. I mean, these guys can if they wanted to. I'm sure they could, if they got a bolt of adrenaline, move just as fast. But there's nothing really to provoke that out of them in their captive setting. This one just, she's a mover. She's good in her cage. She doesn't push or anything. She'll be well behaved, but when she's out and it's time to exercise, she's definitely a bit more of a handful. Which will be interesting to see as she grows, if she's going to maintain that level of flightiness or if she'll mellow out. Some snakes are just like that. They're just wired differently. In terms of their feeding responses, all 3 of these have really strong feeding responses, so that they do share in common, which most retics do. Occasionally you'll get a retic that has a rather mellow, chilled out feeding response, but those are typically older animals that have been around the block. They know the routine. Their metabolism is slowed down. They might even be a slight tad overweight. Not to an unhealthy degree, but usually the retics I see that don't have a strong feeding response, that's the case. They're slightly overfed. Or they're really old. This girl's only 3 years old. Actually, her birthday's in about 10 days. Less than 10 days now. I'll be doing a birthday update. Hopefully she'll be fresh out of shed. Get a measurement on her, see how much she's grown in 3 years. Alright, I think that's all I wanted to cover in this video. Let's take a look at my monkey over here. Hop the fence, she's up here sleeping. Somebody's down there roaming around. Oh, he's not sleeping. Alright. Let's get a better look at this girl up here before we go. Let's take a nice look up here. At the speed demon herself. Oh, sorry. Her eyes seem to be a little bit more sensitive to the light when I shine it on her. The other two, they'll sleep right through it, but if I go to look in on this girl at night with the flashlight, it almost always wakes her up and she starts moving her head a little bit, or starts showing alertness. Just to perk up and check things out a little bit. She's probably sleeping right now. I don't want to wake her up. I'm not going to deliberately shine the light in her eyes, but just kind of see if I can get a little bit of her. It's dark in the room today. There's some cloud storms rolling through. She's nice. She's pushing about the 8 to 9 foot range. Like I said, this girl's birthday's coming up. I'm going to get a measurement on her, but she's in about 13 to 14 foot range. I'll have a more precise measurement on the next video. This guy's in about the 6 to 7 foot range. And, everybody's coming along nicely. Let's see here. Where's my guy? There he is. You can't see him back there. He's back there. There he is. Chilling out. Alright, that's it for today. See ya.